Shalom, shalom, everyone. This is Yehudah with another edition of the School of Knowledge on the Sabbath day. I am so happy that you have decided to spend your Sabbath with us. We hope that the teachings that we have been doing over the last year have been inspiring to you. It has inspired you to study. It has inspired you to pray. It has inspired you to look at things a little bit different. So today we're going to continue the teaching that we were doing last week because we are working our way to the kingdom. And in doing that, we talked about a few things last week that was very, very interesting. So I want to bring up the screen so you guys can see the screen. If my phone goes dead, because sometimes when I'm talking about these types of topics, they, for some reason, allow my phone to go dead. So if my phone goes dead for any reason, you guys, I don't want any dead time. So, you guys can start talking about it. Stay on topic, please, and only talk about the things that are appropriate to the class today. And then I will be dialing back in as soon as I possibly can with it. Now, I hear noise right now, and I want you guys to hear this noise.
I have one question. How do you see it? Where do I go to see the pictures?
You can't see it right now. You'll have to call us at another time or email us at the Yehudah Project, and then we will send you instructions on how to see the screen.
Okay.
Okay, because we don't give it takes too long to try to give instructions over the phone and everything. So if you can't see the screen, we're going to be in the Bible. So you can follow us with the Bible. You can go online on Bible Gateway and follow us that way, but the pictures you won't be able to see. So I just wanted to be able to share that with you guys and let you know that. Because there's a lot of times that they cut my phone off, and then when I go back to you to tape, it's dead time. And then everybody be like, where'd she go? What happened to her? Where'd she go? What'd she do? So I just want to share that with you. Now, if I hear any background noise at all, I'm going to mute your phone number. I'm going to do that. Because I say it all the time, and it just seems like, I don't know. I don't know what happens, but we're just going to go there. Pages turning, anything. We can hear it all. So that means that when the comment time comes in, you won't be able to give a comment, but you'll have to wait until after the class is over before you can actually give a comment, because this is going to be kind of controversial. And like I said before, for those this is new to, that you are new to this, if this is too much for you to take, please, it may be too much. You may not be able to be on this class today. And I don't want you to think I ended up fell off the deep end, because I haven't. I am very, very interested in how this thing is going to go, and I really want to see what you think about this, because this has been a theory that I have had for quite some time, and I want to share this with you. Let me see what else. I'm going to make sure that I got everybody, and everybody is, except for the ones that I heard noise on. So don't get mad at me, because I get all kind of emails and stuff. You muted my phone. That's because I heard noise in the background. Once we finish the teaching, I will take the mute off so you can talk. All right, so here we go. You got to let me know when you can see the screen, because I'm going to open it up now from the section where we are. And I'm so excited about this because I've been wanting to do this for a while. Okay? All right. Make sure I get that too. Okay, so let me know. Can you see the screen?
Yes.
Okay, next section. So as we were talking last week, we were talking about this king that was coming. We talked about the king that was coming. We talked about the wilderness and where Israel was going to be those people who took heed and the warning, and they left at the appropriate time. We talked about some of the signs that they were going to show us in order to be able to move, when to run and when not to run. We talked about some of the teachings that some of the Hebrew Israelite teachers have told their people. So we've covered a lot of things, but for some reason I was unctuous to go back to the king, because it's very important. I want to establish this, and I saw someone else establish this on the internet, and I know he got it from me. I know he did, because nobody was talking about this until I brought it up. Nobody. I searched the internet over and over. Nobody was talking about this until I brought this up. But I'm glad they know. Because now we're going to follow this a little bit deeper. Because I want to get into this subject. And I don't mean to blow my own horn, because the Most High, He gives us things for us to be able to, hold on, let me pause this real quick. I got to do something real quick. He gives us, us the ability to be able to know things, for everybody else to be able to understand and know. Okay, so let me make this, return the screen sharing. All right, so we're going to our next section, and we're going to go back to this. All right, so here we go. It's called the Elohim of the Ten. This is very, very important, and I wanted to share this with you. So we're going to go to Daniel chapter 11. We're going to go back to Daniel, because we got to be able to deal with this particular topic that I'm going to share with you. And I want your feedback. So we're at Daniel chapter 11, verse 37. It says, now this is the king that's coming, neither shall he regard the God of his fathers, nor the desire of women, nor regard any God, for he shall magnify himself above all things. Now it says, this scripture determines this false Elohim's genealogy will be of the Hebrew Israelites. This is the thing that I'm talking about that nobody was talking about. When they said in this particular scripture back here in 37 that he would have no regard, neither shall he regard the God of his fathers, I said to myself, why would they say that? Why would that be significant for them to bring that up? For nor the desire of women. So he's not going to have a desire, an attraction to the opposite sex. He said, nor regard any God, for he shall magnify himself above all. So I wanted to go back into the scriptures and find some of the scriptures that relate to the God of their fathers. And every time I did, it was dealing with Israel. So I wanted to move forward and do that. Hold on. It says, in each of the scriptures listed below will determine when the phrase is used, the God of his fathers, it is referring to Yahweh. Watch what happens. We're going to 2 Kings chapter 21. I'm just laying some groundwork here. I want you to get some paper and pencil and write this down, because we got to know that this is going to be a very significant time, because I call this the time of temptation. It's going to literally be a time of temptation, because if it were so, we were reading in the New Testament that the very elect would be fooled, that we established, I think Isaiah 45 said that Israel is mine elect. It is not the church. It is not the Gentile. It is not the Gentile church. And it is not spiritual Israel, as they say. Because the Bible clearly says that Israel is mine elect. So we have established today through our conversation and just talking that Israel is a black nation. That we are black people from Negro origin, and that we have black features. Now, we have intermingled and we have married people of other nations, and some of us have different features than others. But for the most part, you can tell Israel is Israel because of our features, for the most part. So we've also established in our learning down through the years that the Elohim of our fathers, which is Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, is our God. He's established that with us through the scripture. He said, no other nation have I known. He said, out of all the families of the earth, you have I chosen to be a special people unto myself. I can go through many, many scriptures and go through it for you all who are new. We're going to put up some videos to be able to explain what we're talking about from a beginner standpoint, to understand the importance of the God of the Bible, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So we know that Israel is a black nation. We know that he is a of color, a black god. And we know that this person here that's coming to imitate and to make himself a god will be a black man. Because we established last week that there is no way that the very elect is going to be fooled by this person, and he is Caucasian. Not going to work. I did some research. Some people think that he's going to be an Israelite and part Arab. Possibility. But if it is the God of his fathers, he would have to be an Israelite through his father. So I wanted to establish this. I want to lay this groundwork today with some scriptures that identify this phrase, the God of their fathers. So we're going to go to 2 Kings chapter 21. And we're going to start at verse 19. It says, Ammon was 22 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 2 years in Jerusalem. And his mother's name, I'm going to try to do this, Meshullemeth, the daughter of Haruz of Jotzah. And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Most High, as his father Manasseh did. 21. He walked in all the ways that his father walked in, and served idols that his father served, and worshiped them. 22. Watch what it says. And he forsook the Most High, the Elohim of his fathers, and walked not in the way of the Most High. So here's the phrase that says the God of his fathers. So this is relating to Israel. Just want to lay that groundwork. Next one, 2 Chronicles chapter 21, verse 21. I think verse 1, I'm sorry. It says, Now Jehoshaphat slept with his fathers and was buried with his fathers in the city of David. And Jehoram, his son, reigned in his stead. And he had brethren, the sons of Jehoshaphat, Azariah, Jeziel, Zachariah, and Azariah, and Michael, and Shephatiah. All these were the sons of Jehoshaphat, king of Israel. And their father gave them great gifts of silver and of gold and of precious things, with 10 cities in Yehudah. So not only did they get riches, but they got cities. They all were designated to different cities. But the kingdom gave he to Jehoram, because he was the firstborn. Now when Jehoram was risen up to the kingdom of his fathers, he strengthened himself and slew all of his brethren with sword, and divers also of the princes of Israel. So he killed everybody, because he wanted to make sure that he said, see, we was treacherous from the beginning. You know, and I've heard a lot of people say, well, it's because we was around these people. No, I think we set the stage for treacherousness. Well, let's keep going. Let's watch and see. It says, Jehoram was 32 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 8 years in Jerusalem. And he walked in the way of the kings of Israel, like as did the house of Ahab, for he had the daughter of Ahab to wife. And he wrought that which was evil in the eyes of the Most High. Howbeit, the Most High would not destroy the house of David because of the covenant that he made with David. And as he promised to give a light to him and to his sons forever. In his days, the Edomites revolted from under the dominion of Yehudah and made themselves a king. Then Jehoram went forth with his princes and all of his chariots with him, and he rose up by night and smote the Edomites, which compassed him in, and the captains of the chariots. So the Edomites revolted from under the hand of Judah unto this day. The same time also did Libnan revolt from under his hand, because he had forsaken the Most High Elohim of his father. So all these are instances where either the king or someone in the king's family did something evil and they went against Yah. So every time they say that they've forsaken the God of their fathers, they are mostly talking about Yah in this Bible. Watch. 2 Chronicles chapter 28, verse 22. It says, and in the time of his distress did he trespass yet more against the Most High, that is, that King Ahaz. For he sacrificed unto God of Damascus, which smote him. And he said, because of the gods of the king of Syria helped him, therefore will I sacrifice to them that they may help me, because they were the ruin of him and of all of Israel. And Ahaz gathered together the vessels of the house of Yah, and cut in pieces the vessel of the house of Yah, and shut up the doors of the house of the Most High, and he made him altars in every corner of Jerusalem. And in every several city of Yehudah he made high places to burn incense unto other gods, and provoke to anger the Most High Elohim of his fathers. We got a couple more, and then I'm going to open up the floor. And 2 Chronicles chapter 30, verse 16. And they stood in their place after their manner, according to the law of Moshe, the man of Elohim. The priests sprinkled the blood which they received of the hand of the Levites. For there were many in the congregation that were not sanctified. Therefore the Levites had the charge of the killing of the Passover, for everyone that was not clean, to sanctify them unto the Most High. For a multitude of people, even many of Ephraim and Manasseh, Issachar and Zebulun, had not cleansed themselves. Yet they did eat the Passover, otherwise than it was written. But Hezekiah prayed for them, saying, the good Elohim pardon everyone that prepares his heart to seek Yah, that the Most High Elohim of his fathers, though he be not cleansed according to the purification of the sanctuary. And the Most High hearkened unto Hezekiah, and he healed the people. So they were having the Passover, and these people did not sanctify themselves for the Passover. So Hezekiah prayed for them according to what was laid out for him to do, to cover the people so that nothing would happen to them. Watch. This is my last one. 2 Chronicles 33, verse 1. Manasseh was 12 years old when he began to reign. He reigned 55 years in Jerusalem, but did that which was evil in the sight of the Most High, like unto the abomination of the heathen, whom the Most High had cast out before the children of Israel. For he built again the high places which Hezekiah his father had broken down, and reared up altars for the limbs, and made groves and worshipped all the hosts of heaven, and served them. Also he built altars in the house of the Most High, whereof the Most High had said, in Jerusalem shall my name be forever. He built altars for all the hosts of heaven in the two courts of the house of the Most High. And he caused his children to pass through the fire in the valley of the son of Hinnom. Also he observed times and used enchantment. So he was doing witchcraft. So when he said observed times, that means reading the stars and following the different zodiacs and all that kind of stuff. And he also used enchantment to do what he wanted to do. Why? And used witchcraft and dealt with the familiar spirits and with wizards. He wrought to anger. And he set a carved image, the idol which he made, in the house of the Most High, of which Yah had said to David and to Solomon his son, in this house and in Jerusalem, which I have chosen before all the tribes of Israel, will I put my name forever. So Hezekiah's son was on some other stuff. He was really cutting up. Neither will I any more remove the foot of Israel from out of the land which I have appointed for your fathers, so that they will take heed to do all that I have commanded them according to the whole law and the statutes and the ordinances by the hand of Moshe. So Manasseh made Judah and the inhabitants of Jerusalem to err and to do worse than the heathen, whom the Most High had destroyed before the children of Israel. And the Most High spake to Manasseh and to his people, but they would not hearken. On them the captains of the host of the king of Assyria, which took Manasseh among the thorns, and brought him with fetters, and carried him into Babylon. And when he was afflicted, he besought the Most High his God, and humbled himself before the Elohim of his father. And he prayed unto him, and he was entreated of him, and heard him. He heard his supplication, and brought him again to Jerusalem into his kingdom. Then Manasseh knew that that the Most High, he was the Elohim. Any questions at all whatsoever or comments? When I read that statement right there, the God of his fathers, it always talks about Yah. That's why I think that when this man comes on the scene, he is going to be an Israelite. Now, does that mean that he is an active Israelite in the tribe with us in this captivity? No. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that at all. But what I'm saying is, as it pertains to his lineage and unto his father's house, he knows that he's an Israelite. And he's a very powerful man in a very powerful position. And it brings me to mind Daniel, because Daniel was an Israelite. But Daniel was a very powerful man in a very powerful position. It reminds me of Joseph. Joseph was an Israelite, but he was a very powerful man in a very political system in a very high position in Egypt. So whoever this king is and wherever he is, he's going to be a very powerful man in a very political system in a very powerful kingdom. And he's going to rule. And I just want to know what your thoughts are. Comments or concerns?
Well, I got one.
Yes, sir.
The thing is, with the other, like you said, Joseph and the other one, who was put into positions in other nations, they still maintained their relationship with Yah, even though they were surrounded by idolatry.
Right.
This king that is coming upon this earth, I believe he is human, and I believe that. Also, when you look at the other kings throughout the Bible that did evil, they did not worship Yah, as we know. They worshiped other gods.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? It wasn't God that they worshiped. They worshiped the gods of nature, the gods of gold, whatever it was that they wanted to worship. That's what they did. They didn't want to worship Yah. And then with this king that is coming up, he has the same characteristics as those other kings, that they did not worship Yah. Even though he is of possibility of Hebrew Israelite lineage, but because it is told that he will not worship the God of his fathers, then that lets us know that this man is most likely a possibility of Hebrew Israelite lineage.
Possible. And he would have to be black in order for the elect to be fooled. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He would have to be, because if a white man stepped up there with blonde hair and blue eyes, we would know that was the case. So whoever is going to bring on the scene that's going to play this part to this particular scene of the play, he has to be a black man. And he's going to come with power. And this is what I call the era of temptation, because he is going to come and he's going to present himself as a god.
Yeah.
According to this.
And the thing is that it's got to be chaos throughout the earth, to whereas people will listen to him and they will want to go on to be healed, or the situation for them to be changed. So that way he's able to go on to get followers that will follow him and do as he says.
Well, like Sister Leona just said earlier, if this is truly going to happen tomorrow and the gold standard is going to be put back in place, well, the world is already in a chaotic situation. They fighting everywhere. All these countries is in the uproar. I mean, they are marching and fighting everywhere. You know, and they've started this campaign of warring with each other that is really out of control. And
hello?
able to see other people. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you now.
Yeah. Okay. And because it's always been that way, now we're able to see other countries battling and fighting with each other. So, you know, I mean, this would be a perfect situation. Maybe we have to wait a little while until America starts going through it, because America has still managed to keep the smoke and mirrors going up, and nobody's really thinking that they are really being affected at this point, because we still have access to all of the resources and things that we need to survive. So we probably have a little while before this collapse happens. If it happens right away, then he steps on the scene and says, boom, I have the solution.
So, Sister Yang, so we're talking about a global political leader.
Yes, he's going to be a global political leader. And what do we mean by that? We're saying someone that can step up to the United Nations and say, I got the solution, I can solve the problem.
Well, I mean, off the top of my head, I mean, and this might be a far stretch now, the only person that comes to my mind may be personable, that probably does have maybe some influence, or only thing I can think of is Obama. I mean, he's very well liked.
Yeah, but this man is not going to have a desire for a woman, so that cancels him.
Well, there've been some accusations even on that end.
I mean,
there's been some accusations on that end now. I mean, whether people believe it or not, but I don't know.
I ain't touching that. I'm just going to tell you that right now. I'm not touching that one, but I understand what you're saying. But, I mean, you know, and then what does that really mean? Does it mean that he's going to be celibate, or that he may be of the LGBT community? I don't know what that means when it says he won't have to desire for women. So
he passed the law, and also he was president of the world.
That's right, and he does have some considerable influence with the UN. I mean, he could assume a position in the UN. We don't know that.
That's the first American president that I've known to be president of the world ever.
Yeah,
that never happened.
He had a lot of blacks follow him too.
Oh, he's very well liked.
A clone? You think it could possibly be a clone?
You said it could be a clone.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at this point, I'm just telling you, anything is possible at this point. It's anything. So I just wanted to throw that out there, so that because I mean, you know, I have other theories, and I thought it was him at first. I thought it was him at first, and it still may be. I don't know. I really can't say I don't know, but I know this man is going to be a Hebrew Israelite. I believe of Hebrew Israelite descent, and he's going to be a man of color. He does all the markers do fit. I mean, we'll just see. I don't know. I can't say yay or nay or any of that one way or the other. Like I said, I just needed your opinion, because it's going to get deeper than that here. So I want you to buckle your seatbelt and get ready, because I mean, there's some other things that I have to bring into play to be able to share all of it with you. Here we go. Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Okay, I looked up the word regard. It says consider or think or say attention to or concern for. So I think it may be more subtle. It may be someone who has a wife and a family, but who really does not think, you know, who doesn't give a lot of, it's like a lot of men that we see now who just don't think much of women. They deride them and they degrade them and they don't consider their opinions. So it may be that, so it could be in that sense, because I don't think it necessarily means that he has to just absolutely say, I have no sexual desire for women or I'm not attracted to them. He just may think so little of them that they don't factor into anything that he does. But, and the other thing is, I don't know that it has to be President or, Obama, because one of the things that I've been listening to the benefits of melanin and what's going to happen. And one of the things that's going to happen possibly is that you're going to have such a catastrophic event that the only people who are really going to be able to survive will be people who have melanin. So people who have no melanin will be looking for somebody to rescue them, and people who do have melanin will be looking for someone to get them out of a catastrophic situation. And so if you have someone who steps forward, who's relatively unknown, but who's very reasoned, who's calm, who's powerful, because after all, he will have the melanin that is needed to really give him some kind of immunity. We can have a totally different leader step forward who does have a wife and may have a family, but who's just macho male and really does not, women are like secondary in any consideration. I mean,
possibility. All of that is possible. We're not taking nothing off the table. Anybody else?
Yeah, let's not forget about the guy behind the Pope. You know what I'm talking about?
Okay.
Yeah, he was in California, gave a speech. He you don't see him around any women at all, period. He don't have any, so that's a possibility there too. And we know that. You talking
about Peter Turkson?
Peter Turkson, exactly.
Okay. Well, for you all who don't know who he is, I'm just going to add something to Brother Yerachim before you go ahead and finish. He is the Pope who was supposed to be Pope before this Pope made it. And they said that the world wasn't ready for a black man to be Pope, so they elected the one that's the Pope now. So he is very powerful in the Roman establishment, in the Catholic Church. And he basically is running things behind the scenes. All right, Brother Yerachim, go ahead and finish. I'm sorry.
Yeah, because he doesn't, he doesn't have any regard for a woman, and he does not, he doesn't care about women in that way. And he to me, he does not regard the Elohim of his fathers, because he's sitting there flirting with those people in their religion. And that's what gets me, that he's with another deity already. So, a stretch,
Yeah, anything is possible at this point. So you guys write all them ideas down and all those examples down. And the reason why we're doing this is just to give you scenarios, just because it's going to happen. And we're not at the age of temptation yet. It is definitely going to happen. So it's just a matter of when, not if, this person is going to come on the scene. And they've been waiting for a financial collapse to happen here again for a long time, since 2008. Because basically what they did was they put a Band-Aid over an exploding situation and held it up and propped it up as much as they could. It's like a drunk man. You're trying to prop up and make everybody think he ain't drunk. After a while, he's going to be too heavy for you to hold, and you're going to have to let him collapse and fall down. And that's exactly what this economy has been doing. And everybody is hollering about, how good it is, and it's wonderful, and it's this. But if you just watch the Federal Reserve and how many times they cut the interest rate, those are things that are done to make sure that the economy stays at a stable and steady flow. Because people will start to react very differently if that interest rate starts going up. Because when that goes up, everything goes up and people stop spending money. So to keep the money circulating, they have to keep cutting interest rates. And what that does is it causes people to refinance their houses, it causes people to refinance their cars and get a cheaper rate, and it keeps the money flowing in the system. But they know that something is going to happen. Okay, so here we go. We're getting ready to walk into this. The last kingdom. Let me pull it up. Here we go. The other Elohim. And this is very, very important, because this also is in the Word. This is also on the news. This is also everywhere. Let's go. It says, now we're in Daniel chapter 2. We're in Daniel chapter 2, verse 42. It says, and as the toes of the feet were made of part iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. And whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men. Hold on. but they shall not cleave one to another, even as iron is not mixed with clay. So when it says that they, whoever they are, shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, what does that mean?
Hybridization.
Say that again?
Sounds like hybridization.
Hybridization, which means what? For those people who don't know what that means.
Another being.
Crossbreeding.
Say again?
Crossbreeding.
Crossbreeding. So they're going to crossbreed themselves with the seed of men, which means that they're going to produce a being that is not quite human. At least not all the way.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's the case, because I've heard a lot of different theories about this particular scripture, but this is what it says. It says, and whereas thou shalt follow the iron mixed with miry clay, and they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, which somebody said is crossbreeding. Watch what it says. But they shall not cleave one to another, even as iron is not mixed with clay. If that is the case, and this is the last kingdom. Now, what this is, for you all who don't know, in Daniel chapter 2, Nebuchadnezzar had a dream. Nebuchadnezzar had a dream of a statue. Nobody could interpret this dream. And he threatened death. So all of his prophets and the people of Babylon, if you can't do it, I'm killing everybody. I'm killing all of you and your family. I'm going to crush your houses down and demolish your houses. Well, Daniel came through not only and told him what the dream was, but he interpreted the dream. So this is at the bottom of the statue. This is the last part. So the first part of the statue was the head of gold. And the head of gold represented what? Come on, advanced class. Babylon.
Yes.
And then you had the chest and the arm, which represented what? Silver. What do they represent?
Medo-Persia.
The Medes and the Persians, which is Russia and Iran. And then you move down to the belly of brass and the hips of brass, and what did that represent?
Greece.
Greece. Represented Greece. And then you move down to the two legs that was of iron, and what did that represent?
Rome.
Rome. Oh! So in the last kingdom, which is the feast that's mixed with iron and clay, then that means that Rome is there's something about the Roman Empire that's not going to be 100% human.
Yeah. Wow.
I think also it could be artificial intelligence, like Android. You can mix machine and human.
Yeah, you doing that too? Yes, ma'am. Absolutely.
That's why they're coming out with movies like The Terminator. And robots.
Absolutely.
Because they are preparing our minds for this.
Oh, here come my class now. They thinking like, wow. That there's something going on with Rome. There's something going on with that iron, because that iron is mixing with that clay. But it says that they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men. But he says, but whereas, watch what he says, but they shall not cleave one to another, as iron is not mixed with clay. Wow. Here we go. This man is going to profess to be God. Watch what happens. We're going back to Daniel chapter 11. We're going to be back and forth in Daniel all the time through this whole class. Daniel chapter 11. Watch what he does. Verse 36. And the king shall do according to his will. He shall exalt himself and magnify himself above every god, and shall speak marvelous things against the God of gods. So who is he going to be talking against? Who is the God of God?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's going to be talking against Yah. So he's going to exalt himself. He's going to magnify himself above every God and speak marvelous things against Yah. Watch. And shall prosper till the indignation be accomplished, for that is determined shall be done. So there's a set time for all of this to happen.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I tell Israel, don't rush. Don't get overly excited. Don't let anxiety take over. All we got to do is begin to develop our culture and prepare ourselves, because this has to happen. There's a set time that he's going to come on the scene. He's going to watch what it says. Watch. 38. But in his estate, this is where you may get juicy. In his estate, he shall honor the God of forces. Now, here's another God. A God whom his fathers knew not. So this God is going to come on the scene, and he's going to give honor to this God. Shall he honor with gold and silver and with precious stones and pleasant things. So he's going to honor this God. He's going to introduce this God. He's going to set this God up, and he's going to give gold and silver and basically pay homage to this God. Watch. Thus shall he do in the most strongholds with a strange God, whom he shall acknowledge and increase with glory. Now this thing, whatever this thing is going to be some weird stuff jumping up. Watch this. And he shall cause them, to rule over many, and shall divide the land for gain. So now back here, he's talking about a God, a strange God. Back here, he's talking about the God of forces, a God whom his father knew not. How he's going to honor this God. He's going to honor him he's going to do in most strongholds with a strange God. And he shall cause them to rule over many and shall divide the land for gain. What do you think that means?
I think he's acting on behalf of someone who's not Israel, is what I think. Because them means it's others.
What others? Other men? Other gods? What
nation.
So he said, it's nations, okay.
He's an Israelite. He shall cause them. It means that they're not Israelites, so he's acting on their behalf. So he's going to increase their rule over many. And one of the reasons why I think that there will be a standing up of he's going to exalt other gods is because the Israelites are not going to follow this God. And so they're going to be in opposition. If everybody else will honor his God of forces and a God that his fathers knew not, except the Israelites who honor the God that his fathers did know, and they refuse to, that's going to set them apart. And so that's the reason why they, in all likelihood, will be they will be the target, I believe. If I'm looking at this, and I'm just going as you're reading, I'm thinking, this is interesting.
Oh, it's going to get really interesting. But that's a good point you brought. That's a really, really good point, because maybe it's at that time is when we're going to start doing mighty exploits, because it'll be a division between us and them.
Mm-hmm. It'll have to be. It will have to be, because he's not going to be honoring the God of Israel.
Then what God is honoring?
Say again?
What God is he going to be honoring, giving home?
They just say it's a strange God, the God of forces. They don't give him a name yet.
And then it says them, so that's
right.
weird.
So that means plural. They're coming with more than one.
It looks like they're going to divide up the earth.
Oh, listen at my people. You better come on. Y'all ready for this? Because where we about to go? I'm just going to tell you something. Let me give you an advance disclosure in advance. I'm going to give you one early. This may be too much for you to take, and it's just a theory that I have. But we may go into this theory. And everybody just brace themselves, because I want to share something with you that I've been talking about for a long time, and I've never had the opportunity to introduce it. But, you know, the Vatican is always talking about aliens coming and spaceships, and can aliens get salvation? And then you have the older gentleman, the older Caucasian gentleman that's doing the interview, and he's talking about the craft that he saw with the black men that stepped off of the craft, and they was black. And the lady was like, you mean brown? He said, no, they black.
Yes, I know the one who you talking about. I've seen the interview.
You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, you know, there's a lot more going on out there than we know. But what it does do is it does validate the fact that Israel is a very special people, because we are people that he has chosen to show forth his power in the earth. But them is where we're going next. And I want to be able to share that. So I'm glad you brought that up. And this is just a theory that I had. And I just want to share this with you. So, you guys ready? Let's go.
Mm-hmm. Lord.
I just want to know what we're going to do. The other Elohim, because there are other Elohims that are involved in this motion. And I believe that these Elohims have been here before. I don't believe anything. There's nothing new under the sun. We know that through Ecclesiastes, that was very clear, that there's no new thing under the sun. There's nothing that you could say, see, this is new. There's nothing new. So let's go into this. I want to know what you think. Just hear me out. The 10 toes. We're back at Daniel chapter 2, verse 42. He says, and as the 10 toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. And whereas thou saw iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men. But they shall not cleave one to another, even as iron is not mixed with clay. The world is broken up into 10 regions. 10 regions to validate the 10 toes. Based on the United Nations country grouping, this is how it's based. It's broken up. You got Africa, Asia, Central America, Eastern Europe, European Union, the Middle East, North America, Oceania, South America, and the Caribbean. That's how the United Nations groups them. I was looking for a specific website, but I couldn't find it today. But the European Union also breaks them up into 10 different regions, but they break them up according to the countries that they have, because they have way more than 10 countries. And a lot of people think that once the union is over with, and they could, when England pulls out, then the other countries are going to come out, and there's only going to be 10 nations. I don't know how that's going to work. I'm watching that very closely to see what happens. But England, or the United Kingdom, is one of the nations in there that's not Catholic. So we're going to watch that. That's just a sidebar to watch that. So now here we go. The 10. Now this is when it may get interesting. And it may be a little weird, but I want you to follow me. Here we go. The island of Atlantis. Give you a little history about the island of Atlantis. It says Atlantis was a large island on the Atlantic Ocean. It lay in front of the mouth, the pillars of Hercules, the Strait of Gibraltar. Now these places, Gibraltar exist. Their inhabitants became a spiritually ugly race, and for the reason Zeus and the gods destroyed them by letting the island be swallowed up by the sea. Now, I want you to just bear with me. This is what it looks like. This is what the people, from the books, they said it looked just like this. This is what the island of Atlantis looked like. It looked like a circle that was built on top of water. And inside of the circle was other circles, and then there was another circle, and then there was a middle circle. This is the way that they depicted it in the book. I want to show you something. Look at that. Now this is Dubai. And this is a hotel resort in Dubai. I'm going to show you. Watch. Look at that.
Oh. In circle.
They are mimicking the city of Atlantis. The hotel is right there, and then these little things that stand out are houses. I'm going to show you. Look at that. Take a second. This is the Gentile nation now. And I thought I said, really, some of the Gentile nation. Wow. Look at how that looks.
Yeah.
Watch. Isn't that amazing? I was like, wow. And look at the road that goes all the way up and curves over when it gets to the actual resort.
Now, how is that? Because I thought Dubai was in the desert.
I guess this is how they are planning on putting this resort together or whatever. I'm not quite sure. But hold on, let me show you. Let me show you this.
We'd like to thank you for joining us at our Sabbath Day class. We hope that you have enjoyed the teaching. We would like to invite you to join us at our class every Sabbath at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The phone number is 319-527-9197, and the access code is 256039#. Please feel free to join us every Sabbath day, and you'll be able to listen to these lessons in their entirety. Again, thank you for joining us with the School of Knowledge with the Nation of Yehudah. Shalom, everyone.